everybody, this is Bonnie from Bonnie's Creative Place, and I am back with card number 3 for our online card class. And this is, we've decided to use the Christmas barn, and this is the card that I'm going to show you how to make. So for this card, we have several little steps, but they're not too awful hard. You need a good sized piece of scrap. I believe this is 5.5 by 5.5, so roughly around that much. Then you need your base card, which is 8.5 by scored by 5.5, scored at 4.25. And then we're going to score this down. I'm going to bring in my bone folder to give it a really good score. Put this over here. Then we have two pieces which are the same size. One is 5.5 by 4.25 in old olive, and one is 5.5 by 4.25 in white. And we're going to do some ripping. Now, yeah, we're going to basically rip, but what you want to do is you want to try to get the green down to 3.5 by 5. So if it's a 5.5 this way, and it's 4.25 this way, we want to try to get a 1/2 inch off the sides, and we want to get about 3/4 off the other sides. So it doesn't have to be exact. You just want this one to fit inside here, like I did, and then this white one to fit inside the green one. So I'm going to start off with little ripping. And I like the different edges. Like, don't be precise on like where you're gonna go, I guess. I'm just doing a little bit. I'm keeping it on the edge. You don't want to go in too deep. You can always go back, but you can't add it back on. So that's what I've learned. So just start off with a small amount on each side, and then you want to estimate it to the 3.5 by 5. If it's a little less or a little not enough, then you can take more. If it's a little less, it's okay. It's not, every piece doesn't have to be the same. Okay, so this is what I've come up with. Let's see how close I am with my measurements here. So we are at 5 and a little bit more. We're about 5.25. And we are at 4. So I got to go down just a little bit more, and what you can do is test it on here. See, I want it a little bit smaller here. So I'm going to take off more on the edge here and kind of give it that crazy look. Okay, I wanted more there. And then I need to take off a little bit more, so I'm going to take a little bit more off from this edge and see if I did any better. Okay, so let's measure it. Now we're almost at 5. It's about a hair smaller, which is fine. And then we are really good on the 3.5. We're a hair bigger, but I like it. I like the size of it, so that's fine. So now we're going to go to the white one, and we're going to do the same thing, but this time we want this one ripped down to a 4 3/4 by 3.25. But really, what you want to do is have this one almost sitting perfectly inside this green one. So we're just going to rip it down here. If it hangs off a little bit here or there, that actually adds character to it. So I wouldn't worry about that if you got a little spot that might be a little longer. And I'll show you what I mean on the card that's done. For the most part, you just want this one to sit inside that other one. Okay, we're going to put this down. Oh, it's too big still. See how I hardly have any green showing. So let's go down a little bit more. Let's see, do I have enough going up and down? I think I'm gonna, but we gotta go on this side now. Okay, it's hanging there a little bit, that's okay. Here it's not enough for me, so I'm gonna rip this down a little bit more. A tiny bit, you see I'm getting like, I'm not getting too much. I like that. I think I'm going to take a little tiny bit off here, very little bit. Not much at all, but I got to get it started, so I just want so little bit of amount ripped off up here. I'm ripping towards me too, if that makes a difference for you guys. There we go. I like it. It fits inside it. It's roughly the same as this one. No two ripping is going to be the same because that's just how it works. And what I was talking about, if you have a little bit standing over, like see how I have a little bit hanging over there over the green, it's okay. It still looks good. All right. So we have this. So now we have our ripped piece. So with these two pieces, we can set aside for now, the green and the red one. So we could set that aside. We're going to do some stamping. So we're going to bring in our mat here. Now on this one here, for our base, I have on here about 3 trees that are just stamped on this paper itself. So we'll do this one, and then we'll do the other ones on the other paper. So we're going to take this and we're going to stamp this in Old Olive. I'm stamping one way over here, as far over and as far up to the top as I can get. There we go. I stamped that one there. Then I'm taking this one and I'm stamping it almost on top of it, but not quite, and all the way to the top, just like that. And then I'm taking this one and I'm eyeballing it as far to the top and right there. And that's all I did to that page for now. So, well, actually, well, yeah. Well, no, I'm going to do it now. I didn't do this in the beginning the first time, but I'm going to do it now. I'm going to take some crumb cake, because I added this afterwards, but I think it's easier for you if you do it now. I'm going to take this piece, and I'm using the base of the tree right here, and I'm putting these little hoof marks, or whatever they're calling them, footprints, dirt marks from the snow melting. I'm putting them right there on that card. So now this card is done. So we're going to set that aside for a few minutes. Okay. So now we're going to bring in our big piece of paper here, and we're going to take the barn, and we're going to take the black Memento ink, and we're going to dab this up really good. Okay. And we are going to stamp this right down here in the bottom corner. Give it a good push so you get all the ink on there. You're not missing anything up. There we go. Then we're going to take the black ink again, and we're going to stamp up the horse in buggy. We're going to stamp that one right up above him. Okay, just like so. Then we're going to grab the crumb cake, and there's these stamped fence posts that are in there, and we're going to stamp the fence post in this crumb cake, and I'm just going to go above the buggy and horse here. So just like that. And then the next thing is we are going to stamp the trees. We're going to do Old Olive, and I need 2 of these trees. So I'm going to stamp one right about here. I'm going to stamp the other one right about here. Then I'm going to get the words, Merry Christmas to you and yours. And I'm going to turn this way. I'm going to take the real red ink. And I'm going to stamp this one up. Make sure I got all my little, I think there might be something on that. Oh, okay. Restamp it. And I'm going to stamp this one right down here. Just like that. And then the last thing I'm going to stamp is the reef. And I'm going to stamp that in the Old Olive. And I'm going to stamp it right here. Just like that. Okay. And that's all our stamping. And now we are going to go to our coloring. So for the barn, I went ahead and I used the dark real red. Whew. And I'm gonna fast forward all this. Let me tell you the colors I use so that you know for when you do it. I use dark real red, light and dark. I use crumb cake, light and dark. I used daffodil delight light. I used Old Olive dark. I used black light. I used ivory. And then for the horse, I used my SU 200 and SU 500. Okay. I'm going to put this right here as a reference for when I'm coloring for myself, but I'm going to try and zoom in so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Okay, there we go. Let's get this out of the way and bring in my forever loved piece of scrap paper here. Okay, so here we go. And let's make sure you guys can see this. All right, there we go. All right. Now, I want to tell you something. I'm going to cut in here. I went out of the lines. It's very hard, and I don't know if you could see it. Let me bring it up. Right here and down here. It's very hard with either end of the blends to get in these little tiny things perfectly. Now, there's two things you can do. Use the color lifter, but I didn't want to do that, or take a white gel pen. I find the white gel pen is the easiest. And I just go over these spots. I just kind of go over it. And if I have to, I could go over it again after it dries. That's what I did, and I think it works a lot better than trying to get in here with the lifter. Okay, so there is my coloring. Now we're going to go and we're going to die cut all this out. And I'll probably just fast forward that too. Okay, so now let's get putting this card together. So let's bring the original card back in so you can see what I'm going to do here. Let's get all my parts over here. So the first thing I did was I took one of these popped up, or one of these trees, and I just stuck it right in the middle so that it looked like a cluster of trees back there. So I'm just going to take some snail and put it right over top. I'm going to put that one right there, just like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my barn down. So here's my barn, and I'm going to put them right there. And I did them flat, so just use some of your snail or Stampin' Seal Plus. I keep calling it snail. Maybe you still have some left over. We're going to put that right down just like that. Then I'm going to put my fence post. Make sure all the little stuff is out of it, and it is. So then we're going to put the fence post down. So I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to run a piece of tape through it. But as you could tell, there's going to be some little tape here. So I go like this and pull out some of that tape that will seep through some of these, so that way it doesn't make my card sticky. Oh, I almost got ahead of myself here. Let me move that one. We need to put the other tree down first. So let's run some snail on this, and we're going to put my other tree right here. It's right about here. Okay. Then we're going to take and put the fence post down. And I just put the fence post so it comes down from the tree and over like that. I'm not going to push it down yet because I want to see where this lines up. And I want this to line up right there. Okay, I like the alignment of it, so I'm going to push it down. Now we're going to take our horse and buggy, and we're going to get some of these mini dimensionals right here. And I'm just going to put a few, if I stop peeling the tops off, although if I peel them off, then I don't have to pick them. I'm just putting a few. I think I put 5. That's plenty. You don't need them all over every open spot. And then we'll peel this off. Like that. And then again, I'm going to put this. I'm hiding this like little spot. Not intentionally. That's just where I know that I did that. And so I'm just going to hide it like that. Then I'm going to go ahead and I did not pop this one up this time. So I'm just putting some snail or liquid glue would work good here. If you get some of the snail or Stampin' Seal Plus in the middle, like I do the same thing. And I'm going to put this in the same position that I put it on the last card. And then I'm going to take the greeting. I'm going to add my dimensionals, but I'm not going to add it obviously to the card yet because I need to put the rest of the card together. But we got the dimensionals on it. I can get this little guy out of the way and bring this in. And we're going to add this down. I like this torn look. And I love these colors together. If you did not want this to say Merry Christmas, this would be an awesome winter theme card, and you could put thanking of you or something at the bottom, like instead of Merry Christmas. And this would be a wonderful card to send to somebody. And just do your own fussy cutting if you don't have a thank you that already has a die thing to cut it out. And then just right down here, I tried to center it as best I could with the card like that. The last thing I did do was take the Wink of Stella. Where did I put her? I've used her on every card, and now I've misplaced her. No. Oh, here she is. Okay, I'm sure you guys were looking in the video and you were saying, Bonnie, it's right there. It's right there next to your stamps, weren't you? So again, I just went around these stitched on the white. And if it runs over, you know, onto the green, it's okay. It makes it pop. It makes the whole card. And I like it it gets right into the, what do I say? I don't know, the card where it rips. It gets right into it and it makes it so nice. And maybe the camera is not picking it up, but I'm going to try to get it as close as I can for you guys so you can see it sparkle and glitter. But it is so pretty. You definitely want to do this, and I don't know how to explain with it in the ripness until you see it or do your card in person. But I hope it's going to pick it up. It might not be. But yeah, it's just so pretty along there. And that is all I did for this card number 3. And I will be back with the last and final card, card number 4.